Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I'm here at the Red Brick House, something that has truly become near and dear and literally part of my soul here. What I've tried to do with this is a 205-year-old house. We've tried to blend the old and respect the history, marry it with the future. And so when I built my storage building out here that I really needed, I made it to look like the red brick house. So we used the same type of siding, which kind of flows with the red bricks and things like that, but trying to give you a feel that we're on a farm. And when me and my wife were out walking, we stopped off at an antique store and we came across this lock. Now, I thought this lock right here would be incredible to use because it still actually functions, believe it or not. Skeleton keys, just literally, turned the wrong way. Turned it that way, boom, look at that key. Big fancy lock. And so I tried to find some hasps that would fit it. None of the hasps today fit it because all the locks are so much smaller. So I got the bright idea of trying to find a blacksmith. And I was very, very fortunate because just about a mile away from here is the Virginia Institute of Blacksmithing, where you can actually take classes. I may try and take a class. I mean, I've been known as a jack of all trades, and my plate's kind of full, and I've got kind of rotator cuff issues, so I don't know that I can swing that heavy hammer and pound on all this stuff. So today, I was blessed to actually work with Shannon. Shannon, who has actually a YouTube channel, just getting started in things, and I want you to check it out. Shanigans? I'll put the link in the description. She is a blacksmith that is literally incredible. And we ended up, or I shouldn't say we, because I just filmed and watched. She built this. Look at this. Old-fashioned, hand-hammered, now I do have to paint it, hasp that's going to go on the red brick. And so this is the journey. I have so much footage of this being made because this was literally incredible. Some of the things that were just amazing was cutting this out, where they heated it up and used a chisel to take it out. Just amazing. Watching them make the pin go in here and having this fit together, amazing. And it is truly a dying art. And you look at this, you know, she bent this, drilled the holes into it, they welded it, hand hammered, high quality stuff. And so I've even come up with a really good idea because I've been thinking about doing a cupola on top of the building, and I'm gonna get them to do the wind vane for it. But instead of putting the chicken on it, we're gonna put a saw blade. Here's the story. Now this is gonna be multiple parts because it's a lot when you start seeing this, and I literally ate it up. Good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. We are here at the Virginia Institute of Blacksmithing, and we're gonna see if they can actually help us out a little bit more. We have an antique lock that we want to use for our storage building, and we need a hand-hammered hasp to go on it. This is actually the lock that we have, and I think it's going to be really cool to have it. They've actually already told me how to treat the lock for it to be outside. But I've got an even bigger problem to try and see if they can help me with, and that is this stove right here. It is cast iron, and unfortunately it's warped in a couple places. It's got a couple of cracks and things. They can weld the cracks and stuff, but I want to see what they can do with it. You're probably looking at this and saying, why would you mess with a piece of crap like this? Well, this is actually a Loaf Liberty stove, which is actually, this was made about a mile and a half from here, from the historic loaf factory and things. This is a piece of Waynesboro's history, and I want to actually use this for my outdoor kitchen, so I'm going to do some work on it. So we're going to go inside and get started. On the tops and places, I know that you probably can't do anything like that unless we ended up making new pieces, which would be sandcasting. But what I'm... tiny little crack here, that's about the only one I see. Well, that and the exit piece back through there. So what else could you do, like, for example, with this? Is there anything you think I should even worry about on that? Or what I'm going to use this for is, because I'm not putting it in the house, with all of the gaps and stuff here, probably end up having some smoke and stuff on it. But I'm going to build like a pavilion outside, and I'm going to make a brick smoking chimney. And I'm going to run the exhaust through here for the chimney, so that way I can go do my barbecue and stuff, but still have the nostalgia of it being a Loaf Liberty, because this is built about a mile from here.
I would think my mind goes to how we build gas forges these days, and put some ceramic wool in that gap.
Okay.
And it'll be something that's maintenance issues. Like it'll get fucked up again and tore up, and eventually you'll have to replace it again. But it should insulate and protect what's
right there
still here.
Yeah.
Better than anything that any piece of metal I can put in there. If I put another piece of metal there, it's just going to warp all the shit and do the same thing again.
Well, what I'm going to be doing when I do use it, it's not going to be hot like that. Yeah, because I'm looking mostly for smoke, so it's going to be like pieces of cherry and things like that that are going to be wet. So the temperature-wise, I think they definitely use coal in it, which is why it got as hot as it did and worked. It's more for nostalgia than anything else.
Yeah, I can weld. I could try to weld a piece of steel in that, but I think this ceramic wool is just going to be a superior material.
Okay.
Like potato wool or fiberfax, one of these refractory ceramics.
You don't deal with anything like that, right?
I don't have any on hand, but I can certainly research it. It's gas forge material.
Okay.
Glass blowers use it, blacksmiths use it for our propane fuels.
Okay. So let me ask you, is there anything that you could do with like just the interior of this and cleaning it up or anything?
I can do a little.
Is that something, first of all, is that something you even want to mess with?
I mean, it won't stay that way.
That doesn't have to. I just want to get it. There's all different kinds, and I've actually taken a lot of the pieces of this off of it because there's another one that's down on the bottom. So there's different ways to get all the air to vent through there. Yeah. And so when you go through with the oven, it's made, there's actually the tailpiece. I didn't realize that was still in there. It's made for the fire to literally wrap around the stove to try and get it so it's even. It's actually a really neat design.
It's pretty freaking clever. It really is. So, yeah, I can clean it up. I can hit it with a wire wheel, get a lot of the rusty stuff off of it.
And the other part is, would you guys be this is more sheet metal than anything else, but would you guys be able to make a box like that?
Yeah, that went into...
That went right in here, so that was clear. That's the ash box. That's what's left of it that goes in there.
Yeah, I can make something that fits in there for you.
Okay.
That one's not that difficult.
No, this is basically it was just heavy gauge sheet metal. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, this is the first step.
And then I can weld this crap right here.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully in place. I'm reluctant to take anything off if I don't have to.
Right.
I might not get it back on.
Well, I've been fortunate. I've actually got some of the screws actually out of here, soaking them really well and getting them off of there.
But yeah. We can give it a little bit of a rehab.
Okay.
And you were thinking of getting it powder coated?
I was thinking about it, but then you got me thinking because this side is the side that I think you'd really have to worry about it the most. And you can see that's the side that's had the most damage and stuff on it. But as long as I'm not doing, the coal, I'm thinking that it might be okay, but you probably are right. Oh, and here's another one of our dampers right here. Right here on the side. There's so many different dampers that are in here because then there's another one back on that side. So I guess it was like an art to balance it out to get your stove even. I mean, your oven even.
Your heat as even as possible. It's a clever thing. Wow.
I've got the other piece. I was beginning to take this off.
Gotcha.
And like I said, I've stopped working on it. Basically, if I take that screw right there, get that one off, that'll come off the back of it. Because you could actually get different backings for it that would actually have shelves and things on there, all the different options. Okay.
Part of the so I need to make another one of these. I'm going to cut this middle part out, and the other one's going to be the back piece.
Oh, you've drawn it out all up here. Okay.
Yeah, just to help me think about it. So you see, I should probably start on that first. I was thinking, is this shape okay? Because that was one of the
that works great.
Yeah, would be good. Yeah. Okay.
The more rustic it looks, the better. I mean, this look is incredible.
Okay, this is really hot. Actually, no, it's good now.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, that's, I mean, I love the antique, I mean, the hammered look and looking old. Anything, you know what, Shannon,
Yeah.
you be creative and you come up with what you want to do, what you think will look good.
I think, yeah, we'll get the shape out, and then I'll dress the edges and stuff like it looks like here, so it has more of a hammered look to it. And I guess we just get started. Oh, and this is probably right. This is the kind you want to use.
Yes.
That covers itself. So let's do all of that. This is gonna. I'll start by making the second one of these, because then these we'll have to like let normalize, like cool without doing it too quickly. Because then we're gonna drill out the middle.
Okay.
So then the piece sits well.
Now, if you just want to work and pretend I'm not here.
Yeah, like action shots. Like, give a really short paper. See, I gave it like that short kind of. I like this. Maybe if I put enough into one of my hobbies, it might actually turn into something for once.
Okay.
And 3 years later, we're here now. And I'm really grateful. I think what made a difference though is I met people who helped me. If I had to learn how to do everything myself, I would have just kind of floundered. You know, like, I think if you do it in a bubble, it's hard to know what to do next to get yourself to do better. I used to volunteer at the Smithsonian, but it was just like, I was in the fossil lab, like where people just walk past and you're housing dinosaur fossils, in like a fishbowl.
Natural History Museum, yes.
Yeah, so they can just like point and look like, oh god.
I'm actually amazed just watching her do this. I mean, the way she just bent that, and she was like, "Oh, we went the wrong way," but I'll take it apart and put it back together. I'm just imagining when you think about all the nails that are in the red brick house and stuff, them having to go ahead and actually make all those one by one is amazing. So I can't wait to see how this thing comes out. So she's been working on this for 3 years, I believe. As a blacksmith apprentice. This is actually an institute where you can actually go to school, become a blacksmith. And so, yeah, we're going to keep on watching. What I want to know is, how did you get into blacksmithing? What made you say, I want to be a blacksmith?
I was at a makerspace in Fairfax, and one of their shops was blacksmithing. And I gave it a try. I thought I'd try all the other stuff that they had there, but I ended up just like not trying anything because there was just so much to do. So it kind of happened by accident.
So how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this like 3 to 4 years now.
Okay.
Although in the last 2 years, I really didn't do much at all because I've had the last 2.5 years. And it's kind of a shame. I felt like I made a bunch of progress and then stopped because I got a job at the Navy base in Dahlgren. And then, but I quit that like 2 months ago now, or a month and a half ago. Yeah, but I know, I'm trying to learn as fast as possible. Especially because, like, I think I'm, like, at 27, kind of starting this a little later than I'd be comfortable with if I wanted to be a career. But there's other ones. I like this, and maybe if I put enough into one of my hobbies, it might actually turn into something for once.
Okay.
And 3 years later, we're here now. And I'm really grateful. I think what made a difference though is I met people who helped me.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to learn how to do everything myself, I would have just kind of floundered, you know, like, I think if you do it in a bubble, it's hard to know what to do next to get yourself to do better. Come on. Get that nice shape down.
So we can die in the house. And I was like, it's like, that's kind of
I
cool
don't
that you want
know.
that to happen, but I'm not sure
I don't know if
I want to deal with
someone-
your dead body.
Yeah, like dying in my house. So kind of like that's. Come on.
This is coming along great. So this will be the back plate, and then she has, this will get welded to it. So that will be like the hasp that'll go over. And then you'll have this big lock like that. That's gonna look so cool. That's gonna look so cool. That's gonna look like it's really old.
Back. Get. Alright. So first thing before I drill holes in this, I'm gonna just beat up the edges.
Okay.
So then it looks Right, so like this is good, right?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Awesome. So I just need to drill 2 holes for this. I'm gonna get a 3/10.